So we'll come to that comfortable spot where we can just rest the sit bones down. And remember that in yoga, nothing should ever hurt. There should never be any pain or strain. So we want to come to that place where we can allow the sit bones to relax into the mat. We lengthen long and tall through the core, but relax the shoulders into the sockets. Always starting off with a prayer. Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, thank you for letting us come to this place. Thank you for allowing us to have this very unique and special way to worship you. Help us, Lord, during our practice to make our bodies stronger and more flexible. Not only our physical body, but our mind and our spirit. Lord, help us to use these wonderful bodies that you have given us to your service. And Lord, help us to go out and to show the love of Christ to others. We ask all of these things in your precious name. Amen. So this week, I felt like I was needed to bring you the message of listening. So we're going to do a little bit of a listening meditation. And then during the practice, I want you to not only listen to your body, but listen to that small, still voice that God might be trying to get through to us. That oftentimes we have the bombardment and distractions from our everyday life. So again, coming to that quiet spot, just knowing that God tells us in the body, in the Bible, in several ways to listen. In Psalm 85:8, he says, I will listen to what God the Lord says. He promises peace to his people, his faithful servants. Let them not turn to folly. In John 10:27, my sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. And of course, in Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. So as we come to this quiet time at the beginning of our practice and we put away the day, we put away all of those distractions in life that can keep us from hearing God's voice. We even put away the future, not letting the anxiety of things that are yet to come creep in and take space in our mind that God can use to be there, to be present, to be answer to prayer. So we try to be present. We try to be aware. And just start to listen within. Not trying to encourage any thoughts. Not trying to call upon them. Just quietly sitting still, listening. Observing what's there. Allowing that space and that time to bond with our Father. Learning just to be. tension that we're holding in certain areas. Maybe the mental body is what we hear a little louder. Maybe still thoughts trying to creep in, trying to pull our attention away. And that's okay. We just learn to sit still, observe those thoughts, listen. So we learn through our quiet stillness, meditative listening, to be non-judgmental. Not of our body, of our mind, or emotions. Maybe we come to the breath with a little more attention than we've given it during our day. Maybe listening to the sound of our breath as we breathe in and as we breathe out. Maybe noticing the ever-changing of the sound of our breath. Even when the rate, the quality may seem the same, each sound may be quite different. Hearing the birth of that sound, the lifespan, and the passing of that sound. And just learning to appreciate the breath as we listen, as it passes in and out. Slowly allowing the chin to just raise towards the ceiling, always being mindful of the cervical spine. So as we tilt the chin up and lean the neck back, just being careful to do it in a gentle way, maybe lifting more through the throat than thinking of bending through the neck. Maybe allowing that chin to just reach down towards that right collarbone, feeling that deep stretch in the posterior portion of the neck. And then maybe lifting up as if gazing to the right if your eyes were open. Letting the neck come back to neutral. Allowing that chin to just gently drop down towards the chest. Maybe this time bringing the chin over to the left collarbone, feeling that stretch in the posterior portion of the neck. And then lifting gently as if gazing to the left side of the room this time. Bringing the head back to neutral. Bringing your awareness to your face. So maybe releasing through the crown of the head at first. Maybe relaxing the lines in your forehead. Maybe releasing any tension in the cheekbones and the jaw. Allowing that bottom portion of the mouth to gently open up. And the tongue just gently fall into the bottom of the mouth. breathing in and out. Always connecting the breath in yoga with our postures. Bringing our hands to heart center. And maybe starting our practice with an intention. Maybe one for ourselves, maybe a prayer for someone in need. Maybe a gentle challenge to ourselves during our practice and thereafter to truly listen. To listen to our bodies, to truly listen to others when they're speaking, and to try to have that quiet time to listen to God each day. Allowing your hands to gently fall into the lap. Whenever you're ready, just lifting gently back up through the chin and opening the eyes back up to the moment. So remembering in our practice, when we come to our seated position, if Sukhasana is uncomfortable for you, you can always bring one leg out, you can bring one leg back, whatever feels good to you. So if I'm not showing you a modification that's good for you and you know a modification that feels better, please do it. We're doing what feels better for our body. So coming in first with your hands on your knees, and we're going to start guiding with the left shoulder coming into trunk rotations. So we're just gently guiding that left shoulder down towards the right knee and starting to make that nice circle with the body. So trying to press down into the sit bones as much as you can, keeping that abdomen nice and taut, and really allowing that spine to open up. So here we're stretching through the shoulders, warming up that core. We also feel it in the outer thigh. So making that circle as small or as big as feels good to you. Whenever you're ready, rotating in the opposite direction. So taking that right shoulder to the left. And again, just making the circle that feels good to you. Should feel good to the back. And when we come down, we call that closing off the chest. So as you come forward, you might want to exhale. As you come back, inhale. And coming back up to that nice seated position. Maybe bringing your feet together, soles of the feet together. If that feels good to you, again, you can always modify by bringing those legs out if that feels better. But coming so that you can really stretch those adductors, those inner thighs, maybe clasping onto the feet, maybe the ankles, and starting to maybe gently place the elbows to the inner knee. Lengthening through the back, knowing the more we come down, the more and deeper the stretch. Pulling that abdomen firmly back into the spine, breathing. Lifting back up, bringing the knees together, and then giving those knees a nice hug. So we're starting to stretch through the back. So arching through that back, releasing through the head and neck. So as that back presses towards the back of the room, we pull that abdomen firmly into the spine, release that head and neck down. Maybe the forehead falls to the knees. Just opening up through that back so that the space in between your shoulder blades opens up. And then releasing through that stretch, stretching your legs out. So we've kept them up for a while, so this should feel good. Coming into Dandasana. So we know in Dandasana, we're just sitting, but in Dandasana, it actually takes some work to actually sit still and strong. So we have that slight micro bend in the knee. We're flexing through the feet. We're lifting long and tall through the core. Let the crown of the head reach towards the ceiling. So we find ourselves in that nice posture. Coming from there into Ardha Matsyendrasana. So in Ardha Matsyendrasana, we're taking that right foot and placing it right to the outside of that left knee. We can either hug onto the knee or we can make it a little deeper by bringing that elbow to the outside of the knee here. And then just let that right arm come up in a big circle, fingertips right up against your backside so that arm creates another vertebra. The twist here is all in the upper thoracic spine. So just as if you were twisting from that lower rib cage up. So the hips are still faced forward, encouraging that right shoulder back if that feels good. Breathe. And then slowly unwinding from your twist. Coming back around, placing that leg down, coming to the opposite side. Matsyendrasana is great for indigestion, so if you suffer from indigestion, a great posture to come to. Again, hugging that knee, or you may want to come to the outside, so you choose. Take that left arm, come up and over, pressing the fingertips down into the mat. And again, that arm lengthens behind you, maybe encouraging that left shoulder back. That feels good. Offering that heart to the left. Breathe. Back around and coming to our tabletop. So you can come back to your Sukhasana and roll up into it, or you can come whichever way feels best for you so that you find yourself looking like a table. So my hands are underneath my shoulders, my knees underneath my hips, hence I look like a table. And so that we don't have a slumping table, we pull that abdomen way up into the spine and we flatten out through that back here. Making sure that we look at the hands and notice the placement. Open up through the fingers, always making sure that we have even pressure, so we don't want to be pressing up too much on one finger or the other. And then maybe just starting to gently lift up off one knee and the other. So feeling that stretch in the oblique, letting that hip fall out to one side and then the other. So just gently rocking back and forth. Always knowing if you have knee issues when we come down like this, you can always make a bump into your mat, which will give you a little added padding. Also, if you have issues with your wrist, you can come to a fist, but make sure to take off your rings because that can hurt. And then coming back, moving into our cow and cat. So when we move into cow, we lift through the heart here. Let the abdomen stretch, the back contract as we inhale. And then the opposite, lifting the back up as we come up into our cat with our exhale. And we can move back and forth with a nice fluid movement, breathing in and out. There's also a modification here that a lot of us like to use where we bend through the arms, using the triceps, pushing up into that cow with our inhale, and into that cat with our exhale. So just very fluid, very rhythmic, very meditative. A great posture to assume if you're having trouble sleeping. Again, listening to the breath, always listening to the body as we move from one posture to another. Noticing what feels good to you. Coming back, lifting up nice and tall once more. And then flattening back out through the back. Coming to thread the needle. So taking the right hand and then just lengthening it out underneath the left, relaxing onto that back side of that shoulder on the right, maybe lifting through that left arm if that feels good to you. Remember, if it ever bothers you to raise the arm totally into the sky, you can always bend through the elbow and place the back of the hand onto the lumbar spine. Breathe. Relaxing that left hand back down and lifting through the right, lengthening into our counter posture. And then easing that right arm down. Coming to the opposite side, taking the left hand this time and extending that left hand out underneath the right. Maybe lifting through the right arm, coming up to the sky. Offering the right palm of the hand to the right side of the room. Breathe. Releasing that right arm back down, lifting back up long and tall through the left. Finding your hands, once again, underneath your shoulders, and taking that right leg and extending it out behind you. So remember, we're not lifting it into the air, we're just an extension from our body. So we're extending, lengthening. We haven't changed the front part of our body, so we haven't leaned back or front or to side. We are just extending that leg behind us, lengthening through the core and all the way down through the leg. Then taking that leg and reaching it over to the left. So letting that leg come all the way around. Let your gaze come over to the left and look at that right foot. Feeling that nice stretch in the right oblique. Bringing that right leg back around, coming back to neutral. Lifting this time through the left leg. So the same thing. I'm extending that left leg out, pointing through the toes. Notice I haven't turned my hip up here. So my hips are staying blocked down towards the mat. And again, I'm just lifting that leg up, not putting any pressure onto that lower back. So we're just extending that leg out from us. First lengthening. So feel just as if someone has a hold of your big toe and they're pulling that behind you, but your hands staying firmly fixed into the mat. Breathing. Then taking that left leg, bringing it all the way around to the right, curling through those toes, and then letting the gaze come around to the right. Feeling the stretch in the left oblique this time. And coming back around. And then just allowing your knees to be hip width apart. Allow the big toes to fall together towards one another. And then just relax the hips back down onto the heels, falling into child's pose. So your forehead resting onto the mat. Here in extended child's pose with our arms out in front. We get a nice stretch here in the shoulder. We pull the abdomen firmly up into the spine. Breathe. Know that in child's pose, in yoga, that's a place we say that we honor the body. So know that you can come to this spot at any time during the practice. If you're overworked or tired or you need rest, come here. Maybe taking the hands, bringing them around, just gently clasping onto the heels. As we open up through the back here, so allow your shoulders to internally rotate and just fall down past your arms. So the space in between those shoulder blades opens up. We get that nice stretch across the back. Again, pulling that abdomen firmly up into the spine. Breathing. Letting your gaze come back up to the top of your mat, bringing your arms back up, shoulder width apart. And again, paying attention to the placement of your hands. So making sure that your hands are nice and open, your fingers are spread out evenly, thumbs pointing towards one another. And then lift from your hips, curling to bending through the toes, pushing from the balls of the feet, lifting those hips up into the sky, into your downward dog. So in downward dog, all the weight is in my hands and my forearms. There's little or no strain or pain in my head and neck, so I should be able to move my head and neck around saying yes or no. I should feel no strain whatsoever there. My heels are pressing down towards the mat, but they don't have to be there. It's just a place. And maybe I want to walk the dog, so I would bend one knee and then the other. And we might hear some snap, crackle, pop here with the joints. That's okay, as long as it doesn't hurt. So as you're moving those joints, you're actually helping them to move that synovial fluid around and coat that joint. So pressing one heel down and then the other. Maybe coming to stillness and then lifting up onto the toes, giving those toes a great stretch. As you do, you're lifting the abdomen, pulling that up into the spine, breathing. Pressing the heels down once again. And then walking the hands back towards the feet. Bending through the knees. Coming up slowly with our swan dive, lifting up nice and long and tall. Finding ourselves reaching and lifting and pressing in different directions. So I'm pressing into my feet, into the earth. I'm lifting through the fingers, relaxing through the shoulders down into their sockets. And bringing the hands to heart center. Walking up to the top of the mat, starting our sun salutations. So as we move into sun salutations, making sure that we know that with sun salutations mean warmth, the sun, hence warmth. So we're going to start to feel the heart rate go up, the body will start to heat up. That's all normal. Bringing the hands to heart center, interlacing the thumbs, bringing the arms down and coming up nice and strong and tall, lifting through the fingers once again, maybe bending through the back if that feels good to you, but always squeezing through the gluteus to protect that lower back. Flexing through the wrist and coming down as if painting the walls. So we're hinging from the hips and we lower down into our forward fold, Uttanasana. Remembering, my sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. Bringing the hands up to the shins, offering the heart forward. Breathe. Pressing the hands back down towards the feet. Taking that left knee, pulling it up into the chest, extending that left leg back behind you. Always remembering when we come to that nice runner's lunge, we want to make sure we have that 90-degree angle. So you should always have your knee right over top of that foot. That knee should never be hanging past the foot. Too much pressure on that knee joint. So maybe starting there, maybe if you need to, relax that back leg down. That's perfectly fine. Whatever feels best for you today. Remember, we're listening to the body. If you feel like you can, bring in one hand up and then the other. Knowing that when we come up out of our lunge, sometimes we come up out of our bend there, so maybe you need to sink a little bit lower. Bringing the arms up and lifting into our crescent lunge. Arms down, right under the shoulders. Bring that right foot back to marry the left. Downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, gliding forward into a plank. Pulling the elbows into the body and lowering slowly, quickly, or hovering into your chaturanga. Coming all the way down, finding ourselves in baby cobra, Bhujangasana. In baby cobra, the hands are right underneath the shoulders. There's little to no weight in them. So if I release my hands, nothing changes. The lower back's doing the work here. Making sure you relax through your neck, so keep that nice and level. Pressing back into the hands, pushing up to your plank, lifting up into your downward dog. Starting with the left leg, we end with the left leg. So we raise that left leg nice and tall. We pull that left knee into the chest and bring that left foot as close as we can to that left hand. Remember, if you can't get it all the way there, that's okay. Grab onto that ankle and walk that foot forward. Because again, we want that good 90-degree angle. Very important. Maybe staying here, maybe coming up in our lunge. Bringing the arms skyward into our crescent lunge. Bringing the arms down. Pressing off with all the right foot. Come up to your Uttanasana, forward fold. Reverse swan dive. Coming all the way up and hands to heart center. Finishing our first sun salutation. Coming to number 2. Hands to heart center. Interlacing the thumbs. Bringing the arms down and coming up, full body stretch. A back bend if you choose, but again, squeezing the gluteus. And then painting the walls. So bringing those arms down, painting the walls as you come down to your Uttanasana, forward fold. Bring the hands up to the shins, offering the heart forward. Breathe. Pressing the hands back down, this time pulling the right knee into the chest, extending that right leg back behind you. Start to spin through the back foot so that it's either parallel with the back of the mat or maybe catty-cornered. And then press off from your hands, coming to your warrior two. So remember, in our warrior postures, we're using both legs. Yes, a lot of the work is in the front leg as it bends, but we're pressing that leg to the front part of the mat, we're pressing the back leg to the mat, just as if we're trying to peel away the mat. And then we bring that back arm back, front arm forward. And as we find that nice warrior two, we just make sure with that front knee that we're encouraging that to fall towards the pinky and not the big toe. Again, feeling, listening to the body, seeing how that knee feels in the back. So maybe it feels better to have it parallel. Maybe I need to turn it a little bit. Revolving that palm to the top, and then lengthening through the arm, coming to reverse warrior. So maybe I'm looking up to the sky, to that left arm. Maybe I'm looking down towards that back. Coming back to your warrior two. And maybe bending through that front arm and just easily setting it on that leg, lifting up through that arm, releasing through the head and neck. So noticing we can hold tension in that head and neck unless we listen and pay attention. Again, that arm that's bent and relaxed onto that front leg, it's not pressing into that leg, it's just staying there. So your core is what's holding you up. Maybe extending that left arm down, coming a little deeper into the stretch. Again, fingertips barely grazing the mat, not holding you up. Your core is doing all the work. And then lifting back up into your warrior two. Revolving the arms around. Bringing that left foot back to meet the right into your downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, again, we glide into our plank. And remember, if full plank is too much for us, we can bend through those knees and crisscross through the ankles. But we want to keep that abdomen tight. We're still firmly pressing into the hands. If you're in full plank, we're just perched on the balls of our feet. We're pulling the abdomen up, but bringing that buttocks down. So our body's in a nice straight line. Bringing the elbows in close to the body, lowering slowly, quickly, or hovering into your chaturanga. And then coming down, maybe into our baby cobra, maybe pushing up into king cobra if we have no back issues and that feels okay to us. Breathe. Coming back down to our Bhujangasana, baby cobra. And then pressing into the hands, coming up to our plank, lifting up to our downward dog. Lifting through the right leg this time, nice and long and tall, pulling that right knee into the chest, bring that right foot all the way up to the right hand, or give it some help by bringing it up towards the top of your mat so that that foot falls right on top, or excuse me, that knee falls right on top of that foot. And then start to spin through your back foot, bringing that back arm back, and the front arm to the front, falling into your warrior two. So again, making sure in warrior two that your back knee is comfortable. And you want enough space in between the legs that you can bend that front leg. Because the more you bend in that front leg, you're going to notice that knee is going to go past that foot. So we want to keep that nice 90-degree angle. Bringing that front arm forward, back on back, falling into our warrior two. Maybe reversing through the palm. Maybe coming into our reverse warrior. Again, I'm lengthening in different directions. So I'm reaching with that right arm skyward, but I'm lengthening down with that left arm. Falling back into warrior two. Again, maybe bending through that front arm, place it gently on that front leg. Maybe lifting with that left arm. Again, trying to not put too much weight into that front bent arm because I'm lifting and lengthening. My core is what is holding me up. So I'm not pressing heavily into that bent arm. And then if I need to come further, maybe relaxing that right hand down. Fingertips grazing the mat. And then coming back up, warrior two. Revolving the arms around, pushing off the ball with the left foot. Coming up to your Uttanasana, forward fold. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. Bending through the knees, reverse swan dive, bringing the hands to heart center. Coming to our third sun salutation. Hands to heart center. And this time bringing the arms up nice and tall. Full body stretch. Back bend if you choose. Swan diving down. So opening the arms up, hinging from the hips. Coming down to our Uttanasana, forward fold. Bringing the hands up to the shins, offering the heart forward, breathing. Pressing the hands down into the mat, this time bringing the left knee up into the chest and bring it back behind you. Coming back into our runner's lunge. Remember that back leg, again, can be down or up. And we're going to come into a lizard pose. So with lizard, we bring that right hand to the inside of our right foot. So much like a plank with that foot jetted out there. And then just wiggle that right foot off to the side of your mat. And then bring your right hand back over to where your right foot was. So again, much like plank, with that leg forward and up to the side. If that's too much, remember you can always set that back leg back down behind you. But again, just like in our runner's lunge, we want that knee to be right over that foot, not past it. So right knee really falls right above the heel. So we find that nice stretch in that hip flexor. That psoas muscle gets a good stretch. Maybe we found that we can have a little bit deeper stretch here. If that's available to you tonight, you can come to your forearms. If not, don't worry about that. Remember, we're listening to our body. Breathe. Walking. Hands back up, wiggling that right foot back in, bring that right hand back out, and then bringing that right foot back to marry the left, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we glide forward into our full plank or half, you choose. And from here, if we want to challenge ourselves a little, we could bring that left hand over a little bit, lift up from the right, so that that left shoulder falls directly over the hand and all the weight is in that hand. Maybe lifting through that right arm into side plank. If that's a little much, set that left knee down. Bring that right arm back around, fall back into your plank. Bring those elbows into the body, lower slowly, quickly, or hover into your chaturanga. And then come all the way down. Again, here you can be in baby cobra. You can press a little higher, king cobra. Or if your back allows it and you want to come a little further, you can come to up dog, lifting the legs off the mat so that the only thing on the mat are the tops of the feet and your hands. Easing yourself back down. Pressing into the hands, coming up to your plank, lifting up to your downward facing dog. From downward dog, lifting the left leg nice and tall. Pull that left knee into the chest. Bring that left foot as close as you can to the left hand. And then starting to move into our lizard. So remember, we take the left hand first to the inside of the left foot, and then we wiggle that left foot just off the mat, bringing that left hand back over. So remember, again here, if you need to set that back knee down, you can. You're still getting a great stretch. Maybe you wanted to come further into that stretch by coming to your forearms, allowing that left leg to fall out to the side a little bit. foot back in, that left hand back out. Pushing off the ball with the right foot, come up to your Uttanasana, forward fold, and reverse swan dive. Coming all the way up, lifting long and tall. Hands to heart center. Moving to our last sun salutation. So knowing the body's probably warmer, a little bit warmer. Maybe the heart rate has come up. Maybe the breath is a little more fast. It's all okay. Bringing those hands to heart center. Interlacing the thumbs. Bringing the arms down and coming all the way up. Full body stretch. Maybe a back bend included. Always squeezing the glutes. Opening up through the arms. And then swan diving down. Hinging from the hips. Coming down to your Uttanasana. Bringing the hands up to the shins, offering that heart forward. So as we do this here, we're pulling that lower abdomen in towards the spine. We flatten out through the back as we lift through the heart, but our neck is not compromised, so it can be still flattened there. We want to always pay attention to that neck. And then pressing the hands back down. Take the right knee this time, pull into the chest, and extend it behind you. And this time, relaxing that back leg down. So walking the hands up, if you can, to your quadricep. And first, bringing the arms forward. Then bringing them to goalpost arms. So the elbows level out with the shoulders here. We stabilize with our balance. And then we take that right arm and we come underneath the left. And we start to wiggle them around the other, one around the other. If this is too much, too deep of a stretch for you, you can hug yourself. It's the same motion, just not as, or same movement, just not as deep. And if you need to come just once, the back of the hand to the back of the hand, or if you want to come all the way so that the palms of the hands meet, a little deeper. Maybe even deeper still if you wanted to lift through those elbows. Maybe gently arching through the back, looking skyward. All of these are modifications. You can stop or start wherever you wish. Listen to your body. And then coming back down, untwining the arms, bringing those hands underneath the shoulders. Bring that left foot back to bury the right. Coming to your downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, gliding forward again. So remember, we fall into a full plank or a half, you choose. Maybe pushing ourselves a little bit to come into side plank, moving that right hand so it falls right underneath the shoulder and lifting that left arm skyward into side plank. Remember, we have the option to set that right knee down. So we tighten the core, it helps us to stabilize. We lift through that left arm, we breathe. And then bringing that left arm back around, coming back to our plank, bringing the elbows in, coming down slowly, quickly, or hovering into our Chaturanga. And then setting the body down. So before moving to our other side, maybe lengthening the arms out alongside the body, relaxing through the neck, so that your gaze is down towards your mat. Gently lift through your feet so that they're just barely hovering over the mat. So you'll notice your gluteus tighten, your abdomen tighten. Maybe from there, lift through your chest, just gently, so that it's hovering over your mat. And then lifting through the arms, keeping the palms down, and starting to work those palms inward, coming to wherever it feels best. You should notice here, the more you come in, the more you'll feel the triceps in the back of the arm work. Releasing through those arms. And then bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders, coming to our baby cobra, pressing into the hands, pushing up with our plank, lifting up into our downward dog. Lifting through that right leg,
long and tall. Pulling that right knee into the chest, bringing that right foot all the way up to the right hand, or helping it forward. Relaxing that back knee down. So we flatten out through that foot, and we find that good stretch there, and that psoas muscle and that hip flexor. Again, we're still keeping that nice 90-degree angle, lifting up from the arms, bringing the arms back out to the front. So first, lengthening through the arms. So I'm reaching through my fingers and bring them to goalpost. And then taking the left arm, this time underneath the right. Maybe coming back of the hand to back of the hand. Maybe coming all the way around, palm of the hand to palm of the hand. Maybe coming a little further, lifting through your shoulders, feeling that stretch deeper, or through your elbows, feeling that stretch deeper in the shoulders. Maybe arching through the back a little bit, and the back. Untwining the arms, bringing the hands down underneath the shoulders, pushing off the ball of the left foot, coming up to your Uttanasana, forward fold. Then they do the knees, reverse swan dive, coming all the way up, and hands to heart center. So moving to the top of the other side of your mat, or to the top of your mat. Bending through the knees generously as I lift up through the arms. So I'm coming into Uttanasana, or chair pose. And as I do, it's just as if there's a chair there. So I'm putting weight back into the heels. So I should be able to look down and see my toes wiggle. It's just like I'm sitting down. Remember, if I want to really work, I'm low into my squat. If I don't want to work so much tonight, I'm high up in my squat. Uttanasana, chair pose, great for your quadriceps, helping to build those muscles all around the knee to help strengthen the knee. And then when you're ready, pressing into the feet, lifting long and tall through the hands, relaxing through the shoulders. Breathe. Swan diving down, hinge from your hips, flatten out through your back. Bring your hands down to your Uttanasana, forward fold. And remember, these are working big muscle groups, so if you get a little bit out of breath, that's normal. Start to bend through your knees generously again, lifting up through the arms, set the weight back into the heels, come to your chair pose. Maybe a little variation on chair pose. So maybe bring your hands to heart center. Maybe twisting with that left elbow touching the outside of the right knee, knowing that that left knee is going to want to jet out. So pull that back, press one hand into the other. Breathe. Coming back around. Once again, lifting long and tall, reaching those fingertips up, relaxing the shoulders down. Bringing the hands down, coming to heart center. One last time on our Uttanasana. Hands to heart center. Lifting up through the arms, nice and long and tall. This time, bringing the arms back full circle, and as you come down with that circle and bring them forward, you sit into your squat. So remember, weight into the heels, pulling the abdomen back. Should look down and see those toes. Maybe again, bringing the hands to heart center. Maybe taking the right elbow to the outside of the left knee this time. Again, remember that right knee is going to want to jet out. Relax through your head and neck. Bringing your hands back to heart center. And then pressing into the feet as I lift through the arms, long and tall. And bringing the hands back down. So coming to our Tadasana, our mountain pose. So you come to the top of your mat. You make sure that your feet are hip width apart. So first we just start to feel our connection with our feet to the earth. So maybe just rocking back and forth from side to side. Maybe from side to side with the foot. Maybe lifting the toes up and putting them down. So just exploring
listening to how the body feels as we move it in different ways. Starting to assume that nice posture. So bringing those shoulders up and back, opening through the heart, breathe. So in yoga, when we come to balance postures, we say to find that dristi, about 4 to 6 feet out in front of us. I like to think in our Christian life that if we focused on Jesus Christ all during our day, our life would be more balanced. So starting to lift from the left leg. So just starting to notice how it is to be on one foot now. Again, keeping that tall, elongated spine. So lifting the crown or head skyward. Keeping that chest open, shoulders back, abdomen pulled in. Maybe bringing your hands to heart center. Maybe starting to bring that knee up, flexing through that foot. So we worked the quadriceps a lot tonight, so maybe we want to extend and stretch them out. So maybe lengthening through that heel, stretching that leg to the front. Pulling that leg back in. And then maybe starting to press that leg towards the back of the room. Bringing the arms out to the front, coming to our warrior three. So relaxing through the head and neck, extending that leg out behind you. Extend the arms maybe out in front of you. Coming back up gently, bringing the hands to heart center again if you can. And setting that foot down, shaking those legs out. Knowing that you can always come to a wall or a chair if you need help with balance. The older we get, the more we lose balance. So it's really important for us to practice balance every day. Same thing to the opposite side. Feet hip width apart. Take that good deep breath in and out. Find that focal point. Bringing the hands to heart center. Again, just shifting the weight here. Remember, as we shift, we're not leaning to one side or another. We're just releasing the weight from the right, pressing into the left foot. And then maybe starting to bend that knee up, flex through that foot, lengthening through that heel, making that right quadricep work this time. Feeling that quadricep clamp down as we lift higher. And bending through that knee, coming up. And then maybe starting to press that foot back as we bow down, extending those arms outward, coming to our warrior three. And then coming back up and shaking it out. So moving back to the top of our mat. Starting to wind our way down in our practice. Bringing our hands to heart center. Lifting long and tall through the arms. Swan diving down. Release through the arms, flatten through the back, hinge through the hips. Bringing that body down, falling into that forward fold, Uttanasana. Bringing the hands up to the shins, offer that heart forward, breathe. Pressing the hands back down into the mat and set one knee down and then the opposite. Remember, I listen to what God, the Lord, says. He promises peace to his people, his faithful servants. Let them not turn to folly. Releasing the sit bones back down. And we find our way down on our mat. So all of us find our way down in different ways. So maybe I want to help myself by bringing my arms back behind me and ease my way down. Maybe I want to extend my arms out and really use my abdomen, letting one vertebra at a time relax down. Maybe I'd like to interlace my arms and rock myself down. So whatever way is best for you, again, listening to our body, not trying to push it to a point of strain or pain. Always remembering there's no competition and no judgment in yoga. It's very important, not even competing with yourself. If it doesn't feel right, what your body's telling you, don't go there. So as we fall down to our mat, we're lifting through the arms, lengthening them out above our head, stretching those toes out,
beyond us. We feel that back lift off the mat gently. Breathe. And then gently just holding and pulling in that right knee. Maybe lifting the left leg up off the mat. Maybe lifting the upper body. Just stretch in there through that left leg. Releasing through that back. Maybe letting the shoulders internally rotate, pressing that lumbar spine down into the mat. And then switching to the opposite side. Relaxing, back down. And lifting the legs up. So coming to up the wall pose, a very restorative posture, one that most everyone can do. But lifting the legs here is so very important and helpful to circulation, allowing that heart to rest a little bit so that the gravity just allows that blood to come back and be rejuvenated, renewed. Maybe extending both arms out to T position. Maybe rotating through the ankles, one way and then the other. Bending through the knees, pulling them into the chest, and then gently allowing them to fall over to the left side of the room as our gaze falls over to the right. Falling into our reclining Ardha Matsyendrasana. So feeling that stretch in the right shoulder here as we extend that right arm out. Maybe the palm of our hand is pressed down towards the mat or the floor. Maybe experimenting, listening to the body as we rotate that palm to the ceiling. Gently feeling the change here with that small movement, with that big difference in the way we feel that stretch in the shoulder. Rotating that palm back down. Allowing the knees to come back up to neutral and just gently float over to the opposite side this time as our gaze falls to the opposite side of the room. Again, maybe exploring through that stretch here with the shoulder. Maybe rotating through that palm of the hand. Back down. And then lifting up through the knees once again, bringing them to neutral. And then opening up through the knees here, maybe bringing the arms to the inside of the legs. And just as we did at the beginning of our practice, but different because we are reclining now, maybe grabbing onto the shins, the ankles, maybe the feet, whichever is best for you, and just pulling and guiding those feet inward. Maybe the soles meet, maybe they don't. Again, very important to just be aware and listen to your body and then answer that listen. So you're making sure that what you hear your body say you're doing, never pushing to a point of strain. Maybe from here, grabbing on to either the shin, the ankle, maybe grabbing onto the big toe, and then lifting through the legs, bringing them to that nice 90-degree angle, coming to happy baby pose. Maybe allowing the body to naturally rock back and forth, giving that spine a great little massage from the floor, letting those adductors, the inner thighs, get a great stretch. Maybe from there, opening the legs wide. Maybe adding just a little bit of resistance as we press into that inner thigh. Flexing through the feet, allowing the hips, the outer thigh to open up. Feeling that nice stretch here in the legs. Again, pressing that lumbar spine down into the mat, so always protecting that back. lifting the legs skyward. Once again, coming to up the wall. Pulling the knees in for one last hug. Maybe even lifting through the upper body, bringing the nose to the knee, pressing that spine down into your mat. And then allowing one leg to fall, and then the opposite. Coming to our Shavasana, corpse pose. A pose where we learn to just truly release and relax. So maybe the feet want to fall out from side to side. Maybe the arms down to the mat. Letting the body decide what feels good for it right now, at this moment. Starting to listen once again. Maybe starting to hear the breath. Maybe it's still a little rapid from our practice. Maybe noticing the quality of the breath as it slows down as we come into our yoga nidra, our deep relaxation. Maybe starting to come back to our practice of listening to the mind. So maybe thoughts of our postures that we've assumed are still racing around in the mind. Maybe now that we can come to stillness, we can come to that still, quiet time that we can allow God back in. We can give Him the space and the time He deserves. We can do as He says in Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. Whether during our listening practice, we actually hear sounds, or maybe we appreciate the silence. Maybe even through sounds we find silence, knowing that all sounds begin with silence. Learning to appreciate both. Never trying to invite in one or the other. Just always learning to be in that present moment. And to just be still. Be okay with whatever is there. discouraged when we don't feel that we've heard God or His Word. Maybe God's telling you He just needs you to be quiet. He just wants your life to be quiet and still and free of distraction. So always appreciating whatever is there. As we start to come back from our quiet, tranquil time, maybe starting to bring movement back to where there was once stillness. So maybe wiggling through the toes, the fingers, maybe lengthening the neck to one side or the other. Taking that good deep breath in, and as you breathe out, leave any burden that's been bothering you or worrying you or just heavy on your heart, leave it out to the side of your mat. God will take care of that. As you take your good deep breath in, take the good parts of our practice with you. That quiet time with our Lord. That peace that only He can give. The knowing that if we just be still, that He is God, He will be there, and that will be enough. As we start to wake up through the body, maybe just gently rotating onto one side or the other, maybe cradling the head and an arm. And then whenever you're ready, maybe starting to press with the opposite arm, lifting yourself up into that nice, tall, elongated spine. Bringing your hands back to heart center. May the entire universe be filled with peace, joy, love, and light. It is always my wish that you felt peace, joy, love, and light, especially that you felt the presence of our Lord. We always end our practice with the term Namaste, which means the light and life in me honors and respects the light and life in you. In our Christian life, we believe that light to be Jesus Christ. I hope you felt the warmth of His light and the peace that He gives. And more importantly, I hope you're able to take that and share with all those you come in contact with. Namaste.